In April 1994, the world media focused on the election of Nelson Mandela and the curtain on ugly apartheid in South Africa. But at the same time, there was a resounding disaster in Rwanda that moved the attention of the whole world. Massacre and genocide that killed nearly 1 million people in 100 days. It's as if the country has fallen into a dark hole with no other. But with the determination of its people, Rwanda emerged from its plight and even advanced among African countries with heads raised after providing the African Guide to How to Promote States. Welcome! In this episode, we will talk about Rwanda. The Republic of Rwanda is located in East Africa under the equator. It is surrounded by 4 countries. Tanzania is from the east, Congo to the west, Uganda to the north, and Burundi to the south. Rwanda is the 4th smallest African country with an area of about 26,000 square kilometers. The country is divided into 5 different provinces: Eastern, Western, Northern, and Southern Province. The country's capital, Kigali, is the 5th province. On a geographical level, the country is located in the middle of Rwandan territory, so we find that all the main roads in the country pass through it. Because of its small area and its borders, it is dry from every direction. Froanda is a landlocked country. They don't have any ports, and almost all foreign goods that reach its territory. It comes through the ports of Kenya and Tanzania. Specifically, the Tanzanian port of Dar es Salaam and the Kenyan port of Mombasa, which is considered the largest port in East Africa. Rwanda is a member of the East African Community. Besides the East African Community, Rwanda is a member of the Commonwealth states. It is a political union made up of 54 countries, all of which are formerly occupied by Britain. From the 1920s, Rwanda became known as Singapore, Africa. This is due to the rapid economic growth and rapid development that the country has witnessed. In a report of the UN Human Development Index in 2015, Rwanda was declared the fastest developed country in the world. The index here is not only about the economic level, but about the education and life expectancy of the citizens. According to the World Bank, Rwanda's economy is among the most competitive among all African countries. It is the easiest place on the continent to invest and set up various businesses and projects. Can you imagine that in 2005, foreign investment in the country was worth $10.5 million? In 2017, it was only 12 years later, but the value of foreign investment reached $293 million. Rwanda's annual economic growth reached an estimated 7.2%. Per capita GDP is increasing at an annual rate of 5%. This growth has helped encourage the African Development Bank to fund Rwanda with more than $2 billion to create the city of Kigali Innovation. The Binzel project is a step in the country's development from the beginning of the current century. The city will be the first technology city of its kind in all of Africa. The government aims to host top-level universities and technology companies in various fields, the umbrella of a creative system that encourages innovation and the promotion of a knowledge-based economy. What is strange, though, is that the growth and successes that the country is witnessing now did not exist completely in the 1990s. On the contrary, the country was on the brink and the economy was at its lowest. Violence and hatred have been the dominant feature among its people. But what happened? How could Rwanda emerge from this situation and remain among the most successful African countries ever? In order to understand the events leading up to the genocide in Rwanda, we must first learn about the demographic composition. At first, Rwanda has a population of 12,374,000. 99% of them belong to one cultural and linguistic group known as Froanda, which literally means those who came from Rwanda. But this group is divided into 3 subgroups, the biggest of which are the Hutus, with a population of 83%. The other group is Tutsis, who represent 15%. The last group, Tua, represents only 1%. Despite the many common factors that unite Hutus and Tutsis, ethnic tensions have always been the subject of their relationship, even when they were colonized by Belgians and Germans. However, with the arrival of Belgians in Rwanda in 1916, the conflict increased in an unprecedented manner, especially since the Belgians deliberately divided them. and placed Tutsis at the highest Hutu level and even issued cards classifying them according to their ethnic group. For more than 40 years under Belgian occupation, Tutsis have enjoyed better treatment than Hutus, with better jobs, better educational opportunities, and a better life. In this period, hatred has grown deeper into the hearts of Hutus to the fullest extent. In 1959, riots broke out in the country, resulting in the deaths of more than 20,000 Tutsis. Many fled to neighboring countries such as Burundi, Tanzania, and Uganda out of fear for their lives. With Belgium relinquishing a state and granting Rwanda independence in 1962, Hutus jumped to governance. Corruption spread, job opportunities decreased, and the Rwandan people became suffering. At the same time, the Tutsi refugees in Uganda formed a group called the Rwandan Patriotic Front. Their goal was to remove Rwanda's governor Juvenal Habyarimana, who was a Hutu. At this time, the Rwandan president tried to take advantage of the situation and win the Hutus to his side, who had defected from him because of the country's low state and the corruption that pervaded the state. And, of course, it was all under the banner of national unity. And to preserve the Hutu. Many Tutsi living in Rwanda have been accused of being members, or at least collaborators, Rwandan Patriotic Front. Under the pressure of the state of tension that engulfed the country, an incident happened that turned the skirmishes between them into a bloody conflict. On April 6, 1994, the Rwandan president's plane was shot down, accompanied by the president of Burundi. Regardless of the identity of the perpetrators of the incident, which has not been confirmed until today. However, the incident was the spark that ignited the fire of war between them, and from April of the year 1994 until June of the same year. An estimated 800,000 Rwandans were killed in 100 days. Most of them were Tutsis. The Hutus in power felt that the only way to preserve their positions was to eliminate the Tutsi people completely. If you are one of the Tutsi, you are not necessarily to be in the street to be killed. Hutus groups were entering homes, killing people while they were in it. At this time, the Rwandan Patriotic Front, composed of Tutsis, entered and the rest of the Tutsi in the country joined it. And they managed in the month of July to control the capital, Kigali, where large numbers of Hutus, estimated at 2 million people, fled to the Congo. And the curtain came down on genocide. And the country that was suffering became almost completely destroyed and in an unenviable position. So, how has it changed in the past few years to the dazzling image that it is now? In the year 2000, the country under the leadership of the current president Paul Kagame began to put in place a number of strategies for economic development and poverty reduction in the country under the name of Vision 2020. This strategy was as follows. The first thing is for them to take care of the infrastructure and build the houses that were damaged. They build new homes for people who have been unjustly exiled from the country, caring to those who suffered during the crisis and restoring their rights before the judiciary, and clean the country of corruption and huge amounts of rubbish scattered all over the place. And because they do not have a lot of resources, what can they do to implement these suggestions one by one at the lowest costs? The first thing is to transfer 22% of the state budget to education only. The second thing is to build residential areas subsidized by the government for people who have lost homes. The third thing they needed to do is a system of social justice so that they can discuss as many issues as possible and judge it in the shortest possible time. 4. Focus on resource development, making alliances with neighbors and attracting foreign investment. 5. Eliminate corruption and tighten control over government elements. 6. Helping Rwandan families in the countryside by creating a new system they called a cow per family. Bring a large group of cows and distribute them to families that have not yet got their share, until every family in the countryside has at least one cow. 7. A national holiday in Rwanda takes place on the last Saturday of every month, and the citizens are obligated to provide community service at the national level. In addition to this day, the state has decided that the first and third Saturday of every month will be days without cars. It means that citizens cannot use their cars in these days. You might say that some of these decisions are arbitrary against citizens, especially the issue of compulsory service. But on the other hand, the country has become one of the 3 least corrupt countries on the African continent, and, of course, an attractive factor for investments and tourism from all over the world. not only for safety rate and cleanliness, but also for the splendor of its lands and tourist attractions. And with this, our episode for today is over. Where do you want to go next episode? Write to us in the comments. If you like the video, don't forget to like and share. And the people who are the first time you see us, make a subscribe and activate the bell to get you our videos first. See you in the next episode.